Austin, I want to start with you. Give us the lay of the land. How secure are the elections at this very moment?
I think it remains to be seen. I mean, we have seen in the last couple of weeks, more months, that the big tech giants, the internet giants like Google, Facebook, and Twitter are trying to be a lot more proactive in the content that they take down on the platform. At the same time, we're really not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. If you rewind the clock back to 2016, let's remember that only a week after that election, Mark Zuckerberg said it was crazy, the idea that that the network had any impact on the election. And then it wasn't until March 2018 that the Cambridge Analytica scandal had hit. So it's really, we're not going to know for sure tomorrow whether anything goes wrong with the election. It might take weeks or months after before they can do a full deep dive into that. But leading up to it, they're definitely trying to be a lot more proactive in the content that they take down and also manage expectations about how secure their platforms actually are.
At this hour, Oren, what are the threats that you are most concerned about?
Well, unfortunately, the cybersecurity doom narrative has become really embellished. And so what that's done is it's not allowed us to take action and to do things about stopping damages. The race to hack the 2020 elections will begin on Wednesday. And since 2016, as Austin pointed out, very little has been done. John Podesta was caught in a phishing scheme, and that remains one of the biggest threats to candidates and campaigns out there. And candidates, over 1,460 of them on the ballot tomorrow, have done very little to protect themselves. And we need to just get out in front of this more quickly for 2020.
Austin, it's been pointed out that, Mark Zuckerberg, despite all of the efforts that Facebook has made leading up to this, they've got a whole election war room that is operating as we speak. He's never claimed that Facebook is fixed. And in fact, they've emphasized there's no way they can really stay ahead of all the bad actors or say that they can with complete confidence. We're just getting news that Facebook has pulled this controversial campaign ad that was backed by President Trump, which claims that this migrant caravan is filled with, quote, dangerous illegal criminals. A couple of media outlets have already pulled this ad, but it's this kind of controversy that, could incite more anger and potentially retaliation. What do you make of this?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, on the earnings call last week, Mark Zuckerberg did spend a lot of time managing expectations and just saying they're never going to be perfect. There's going to be things that slip through the cracks. But I think the larger issues that they're going to have to contend with are, what do you do with content that's not so much fake news as it is skewed news or misinformation? My colleague Sarah Fryer was out with the story just last night about this topic and just showing how the company is really struggling to grapple with this content that would not be categorized as disinformation or fake news from hoax publishers, but more just content that sort of gets viral on its own because it's more polarized. It leans right or it leans left, and that's more likely to go and spread across the network. How do you deal with that content? Do you proactively take it down, or is that just in the category of free speech? Those are sort of the big challenges you're seeing Facebook and Twitter dealing with leading up to tomorrow's election.
As for this particular ad, Facebook said it violates their ad policy against sensational content. The video is allowed to be posted on Facebook, but cannot receive paid distribution. Oren, what power do voters and users have right now? What should we be aware of? What should we be able to spot?
Well, voters have all the power. They can go to the polls tomorrow and they can elect leaders who are going to take cybersecurity seriously and craft legislation that's going to change what we're seeing today. And they can also vote for products and for technologies that protect their privacy and that take security seriously. So tomorrow's a really important day, and every day is an important day to vote. You can vote with your dollars. You can vote to send the right people to Washington and to the State House who are going to do something about this. Very little has been done since this has become more aware to everybody since the 2016 elections. And it's important to get out there tomorrow and make your voice heard.
Meantime, Austin, we're already becoming aware of some threats. Senator Joe Manchin, for example, has announced that his social media accounts were compromised. Twitter has reportedly cracked down on a big voter suppression effort, thousands of accounts that could have been involved in this voter suppression effort on Twitter. But one of the things that I've seen pointed out is that the compromising of the elections in 2020 happens the day after the midterm. So on November 7th, we're going to be starting this process all over again.
That's correct. I mean, the fact is this is a never-ending challenge, and that's something that Mark Zuckerberg had talked about on the earnings call, and also something that Jack Dorsey would agree with at Twitter. These problems will never go away officially, no matter how much safety infrastructure you put in place, no matter how many algorithms you have to protect against these problems. I think what they're having to look ahead to is more how to managing these challenges. What do you do when they do discover that something slipped through the cracks? How safely can they protect the platform in the aftermath? And along the same lines, at what point do you get to I guess sort of a situation where you just have more users comfortable with the idea that this platform is going to be vulnerable the more you give it its data? That's just a part of the day-to-day of running a social network the size of Facebook.
If I could, I think the opportunity is, that's an opportunity what Austin described, right? The fact that it's so predictable that we know on Wednesday that hacks will start to influence the 2020 election gives us the opportunity to take advantage of it. These attacks are not sophisticated, they're not unprecedented, they're totally predictable. All it takes is a little bit of will and a little bit of smarts to get in front of it. We shouldn't look at that as being part of the doom story. We should look at that as part of our opportunity to take advantage of these incidents from destroying our democracy and our society.